Continuing looking at statistics, let us look at this subtopic of discrete and continuous variables. First of all, you have the word variable. When anything varies, it means it can change, or it changes. You call it a variable when it can take on different values. Usually represent variables with a letter. It could be X, it could be A, it could be P, Q, alright, A, B, C, whatever it is. That letter represents any number that you later on input into whatever situation it is, whether it's an equation or something else. Now, variables mean vary, but we want to look at two main types of variables. You have the discrete variable and you have the continuous variable. Now, with the discrete variable, you can count them 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. But the important point to note is that when you go from one value to the next value, there is nothing in between. There is a gap. You have a clear difference between one value and the value following it. If someone say you should use your discretion, it means you should be able to tell the clear difference between one situation and another. Discretion. So, discrete data, you have a clear difference between one and the other. So, let me just make a note of that. So, discrete variable. Let's just put it this way. Clear. You have a clear difference between one and the other. Let's look at an example. Let me get a few items here. Let's look at an animal. This cat. You have, it could be a case where you have more than one cat. All right. Let me copy this cat and paste it. So you have one cat, two cats, three cats, four cats, five cats. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cats. Is there a certain number of cats between 4 cats and 5 cats? No. You can't say 4.5 cats. You can't say 4.5 cats, 4.6 cats. It is either 4 cats or 5 cats. That's it. You have a clear difference, a gap between one value and the next value following it. It's either 4 or 5, nothing in between. So you're talking about discrete variable here. Alright, let all these cats go. With continuous variable, it's a bit different. You have no clear difference between one and the other value. So let's just put it that way. Continuous variable, no clear difference. In fact, there is no difference at all. There's no gap. Let's say gap. That's a nice way of putting it. No gap between. And this says clear gap between the two values. Continuous variable has no gap between the two values. What does that mean? You're looking at my ruler here. Let's see, I have two values. This is in meters, all right? This is 5 meters and 6 meters. Now, is there a measurement between 5 meters and 6 meters? Of course. We can go right here and say that you have 5.5 meters. 5.5 meters. Alright, is there something you can put between 5 and 5.5? Of course. I can put a value of, let's say, 5.3 meters here. So I have 5.3 meters. Let me put it up here. 5.3. Okay, there goes. 5.3 meters. Now, what about a value between 5 and 5.3? Well, I could put another value. For example, what happened? Seem to have jumped all over the place here. Have a little difficulty. Let's go back to what we were doing. All right? I've lost my previous screen for some reason or another. It just jumped off. But let's continue what we were doing. We were between 5 meters and 5.3 meters. So with this technology that happens sometimes. 5 meters and 5.3. Okay. Now, could you have a value between 5 and 5.3? Well, you could very well put a value of, say, for example, 5.26. We have 5 and 5.26. Could you have a value between 5 and 5.26? Of course. I could put, let's say, 5.218, 219, whatever it is. All right? 5.217, whatever value I want. Can I find a value between 5 and 5.217? Of course. The idea is we could be going on and on and on all day, all week, and we would never finish. You do not have any gap between one value and another value when it comes to continuous variables. All right? So, with continuous variables, you have no gap. Examples of variables. that are continuous. We could say length in meters. It could be mass in kilograms. Could be time in seconds, minutes, hours, whatever it is. You measure it on a continuous scale. You can theoretically always find a value between two values. You do not have any gap, so it's continuous. There is no break. So you say these variables are continuous variables. All right? So we looked at discrete and continuous variables. Discrete variable has a clear gap between one value and the next value following. Now, there is a particular example of a discrete variable that has fractions in it. That is the size of shoes. I have seen size 10. I have seen size 10 and a half. But guess what? I bet you that you cannot go into any store and find a shoe size between 10 and 10 and a half. You will not find a size 10 and 1/8, a size 10.265 or anything like that. So that's the only discrete, widely used discrete variable that I remember now that actually has fractions in it. You do have a clear gap between two values, size 10 shoes and size 10 and a half shoes, but you don't have a clear gap because you don't have any shoe size between 10 and 10 and a half. All right? So discrete variables, example, the number of cats, number of chairs in a room, shoe size, number of students in a class, right? Number of trees in a garden, things like this. These are discrete variables. The continuous variables, I said before, measurements in meters, kilogram, time in seconds, and so on and so forth. Alright, so you get the idea. We'll continue next time, another video, so I will see you then.